Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
Well, welcome home, family.
Welcome home, everybody. Your mom and dad's here. Clap, 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 clap.
Welcome to our first Friday bonus episode. Every other Friday ep.
Wow.
It's official.
This is huge because, you know, it's been a couple months now of like walking into these things being like, oh, we're going to recap a show.
I know.
And just
this
now I'm just talking to you about this. What are we talking about?
This is a freelance.
Yeah.
This is a freelance show where you're going to hear all about us the entire time. Maybe a little bit today, but though we're going to have guests, we're going to have fun topics, all this coming up on Fridays. But lucky for all of you, Evan is in quite a bad mood today.
I'm not in a bad mood. I'm in a spicy mood. Like, fam, you ever like
Evan woke up, shot out of a cannon. Our last episode, this is a few days ago, we saw you were hungover.
Yes.
You were therapy Evan.
Yes.
Things have changed since. I'm like, Lee, I'm so sorry you walking in, Evan shot out of a cannon. Just complaining.
And it's also chaotic too. So like I had a bunch of stuff I was supposed to do this morning, didn't get any of it done. And I'm in, you know, I'm not in a bad mood. I'm just in one of those moods where everyone has to pay. I'm in a reckoning mood. You know what I mean? It's the day of reckoning.
You like brought up a beef with a friend from like 12 years ago this morning. I'm like, I haven't even heard that guy's name in forever. I'm like, what is happening? Therapy Evan has combusted.
And he took that personal. You know, it's okay. You know what? It's one of those things. This is where the therapy comes into practice.
Okay.
Because I'm being met with the day of reckoning vibes.
Sure.
And then I'm going to lower that and realize that that's my own insecurity or something,
it's your
right?
own internal reckoning.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
It's because I haven't accepted myself. So everyone has to pay for the stuff I haven't forgiven myself for.
Yes, I think so.
That sounds really smart, right? Didn't that sound like a thing? That was kind of good. I don't even know. I don't know how to apply that, but it sounded good. It's not like if I was a therapist, that's some shit I'd say. You know what I mean? Like, do you ever think about like, I think Jess would be a really good therapist. Do you agree, Lee?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think she'd be, everyone's very open to her. I think I would be, the problem with me being a therapist it would
be a bad idea.
I could only schedule on days that I don't feel this way. You know what I mean? Like it'd be like, I'd have to wake up that day and be like, your appointment is good. Or all appointments are canceled because I will tell you that you need, you know what I mean?
Give you
like,
all my opinions.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to be a listening ear helping you process. And on these days, I will give you every single one of my opinions and you will pay even though you are one of my clients.
Yeah, be like,
you will pay emotionally.
There'll be this person that I've been working with for like 3 years, like getting them through all this stuff. And then I'd walk in that day and be like, hey, did you ever think about the fact that you complain a lot? Oh my God. Because I'm hearing a lot of me. And last time I checked, you need to focus on someone else, okay? You're selfish.
Oh my God.
Self-obsessed. I just would go off on them. Just put them back 3 years.
I think some people need that, though. To be
Well, I mean, maybe I'd have like a real, you know, like deep, close following of my clients that like could handle that like tough love, you know, and then like I'd ruin others, you know.
You know what's funny is one of the things that makes me feel special about our relationship is you get in these moods occasionally. Every once in a while. Evan's just a low-key, mellow, nice guy most of the time. And then every once in a while you wake up and it's time to pay the piper and you have one of your reckoning days. And I always felt special.
Judgment Day, as we call it. Y'all are afraid of end times.
I feel
Get
like
in my vicinity.
You're so patient, and then you reach
I think that's
a
what it
certain
is.
day,
I think
and
that's
it's
what
like
it is.
you have a very high threshold. But one of the things that
valve.
it made me always feel so special is that I was the only one that you never had a reckoning day with. you complain about everyone else to me, but you never give me a hard time. And that always made me feel so loved and special.
Oh, I'm glad I can make you feel special like that. Well, I think because there's nothing wrong with you ever.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And that's something that we have sworn to say on the podcast. And you said that if I didn't say that we'd have problems. No.
Say the right thing.
Okay. And what did my script say?
Cue cards. Cue cards.
No, I mean, I know what you're saying, because I think that, like, I feel like you're someone I can trust with venting. You know what I mean? But also, yes, I think
I love it when it makes me laugh when he's in these moods.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's what encourages you, that I start laughing when you're going off, and then you start enjoying the adrenaline, and it gets extreme. Yeah.
That's true. It does get extreme sometimes. And I hear myself talk like in the third person sometimes. I'll be like, well, that was way too much. You know what I mean? Like, that person didn't do anything wrong. Like, they literally just like walked across the street. And I'm just like, okay, well. But I do think it's a Valve thing. I don't know how y'all are out there, but it's like, I really try to keep it together.
You do.
But
that's part of your therapy work. You try to keep it together too much.
But do you want this loose? You know what I mean?
If you let it out
at
a
least
little
you
bit
know
more.
When it hits, it's like, okay, it's hitting for
Batten
this.
down the hatches.
It's hitting for this day. But if this is just like, that's part of the problem, is I think I'm a two-brained person. Mm-hmm. I have two brains going on at once. One is like a calculated, pragmatic, practical person, and the other is like off the chain. Mm-hmm. And so like I'm always battling.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like once a month off the chain wins.
Yeah.
But I do feel like two people, and this is the thing I've talked to my therapist about, is I do feel like two people.
Well, and Jessica Lanyadoo, your charts are
she said the same thing.
They're like so in competition with each other.
Right.
Okay, well, hold on 1 second, two brain. We have to take a quick pause.
Okay, double brain.
A quick pause. Sorry to interrupt. So family, we've been looking to save some money lately, okay, but also sometimes you gotta shop. A conundrum, right? Well, Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop. Rakuten is an online shopping platform that gets you cash back at over 3,500 stores across every single category, including fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, and so much more.
If you are already shopping, why not save while doing it? Membership is free and it's easy to sign up. Rakuten has 15 million members who are already saving, and they also find you the best deals, sales, and coupons. They do the work of searching for coupon codes so you can save time and money.
So I've used Rakuten while shopping with Sephora, with Petco, with Expedia, so many more. And they make it simple as well. Rakuten deposits your cash back directly into your PayPal account, or they send you a check. If you're shopping, start your shopping at Rakuten. Your cash back adds up, baby. Get the free Rakuten app and download the free browser extension. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. Go to Rakuten.com now or download the Rakuten app today. That's Rakuten. So sorry to interrupt
my double brain.
Your double brain. But no, I remember with Jessica Lanyadoo when she was on Chatty Bros, and she was talking about how, oh yeah, you must feel a lot of internal strife all the time.
I do.
I know.
I do. I really, really do. And I think I'll never know myself. And that's something I've come to terms with. You know what I mean?
It's just a lifelong
How can you know
journey.
two people at the same time? Well, maybe you can't, but
I don't know.
Do you guys feel double brain?
No, not really.
Fuck. No, I do. I think there's kind of like a work brain a lot of the times too.
Okay.
Like a work brain and like, you know, regular brain is the right way to say it. But I know you work a lot, Evan, right? Like, kind of that's your thing.
Yeah. That's my thing.
He likes to do this
kink.
thing called work. That is your kink, is working.
Honestly, it is.
It gets you hot. Is having
when
a
I'm
packed
working
schedule of work.
No, honestly, and that's something also that this is I mean, it's the most like obnoxious thing ever to just be like therapy, but that's also something I think about a lot, which is like an obsession with being busy. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think it calms the brain. Like, you know how we all use coping mechanisms?
Yeah.
I definitely work as a coping mechanism of mine to calm the like. I think it's what calms the, you know, we were talking about the reckoning brain, the judgment brain. The judgment day brain is calmed by the work.
Okay.
Okay.
It's almost like like a random example is if you're in Zelda, right? And you were to be like fighting a boss or something like that. How there's always like, you got to keep him busy with something. Like you got to like hit him with a strike or whatever so that you can make the attack. The strike, the analogy connecting here is that the strike on my double brain is work. The problem is when you don't have a lot of work or life's not busy, then the double brains meet. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what's up? Yeah, it's chaos time.
I don't relate. My coping mechanism is soaking in a hot bath and then curling up in a ball and crying for hours in bed. That's my coping mechanism.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't feel double brained. I just feel tormented a lot and very emotional and anxious.
So you're a single brain, but that single brain
does some serious damage often.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're all healthy here, aren't we?
I know. What a great way to start our first Friday episode. Just crushing it.
Just being open and honest about our issues.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do today.
That's what we're here to do,
So
though.
we thought that we would do something that's going to probably be a little different than our typical Friday episodes because I feel like we're constantly recapping. We're talking about pop culture. That's how we started. But we do get a lot of questions from people, which is so nice, kind of wanting to know more background stuff, more personal stuff. So we thought we'd start this off before we start getting the guests on and having different topics of conversation to open the gates for the family to ask any which question, and we're down to dive in.
Yeah,
we're down
definitely.
to dive in. But before we do that, I did want to bring up something.
Uh-oh.
You guys, a few weeks ago, I talked about how my ultimate dream is to be on wikiFeet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I received a message about an hour after that episode came out a few weeks ago, and a member of the family was like, Jess, you're on wikiFeet. I'm like, no. I check on the regular. I was not on wikiFeet last night. Someone from the fam hooked me up and put pictures of my feet on wikiFeet and created a wikiFeet profile for me. So I finally made it onto wikiFeet.
That's kind of like being accepted into like some private social club, but like some elite.
I feel so honored. I feel so blessed.
Yeah.
We still need to get you on Delphs of Disneyland, but here's the only concern that I have. I did go on my wikiFeet a few hours after it was uploaded.
Yeah, how we doing?
And I'm going to tell you guys something. It's not looking so good.
Shit. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's not looking so good.
Now when they...
I told you all. I'm like, I know that I do not have the feet of the foot fetish community fame, okay? And I knew, and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh God in heaven, we're not looking so great right now. So I haven't checked it since, and I kind of want you to pull it up and check it right now, and just don't tell me, but I want you to look it up. I want you to look it up.
Can we look up look up her wikiFeet? Because might think this too, like, is wikiFeet leaning towards the fetish community, or is wikiFeet just leaning towards like a general just like appreciation of feet? I would imagine it's both.
I think in general, my feet are just not feet that people... They don't fuck with my feet, and that's all good. You know what? It's okay. But
okay, let's see how we're doing here.
How's the rating?
3 out of 5. Okay, feet. It says okay. So we got okay
feet.
We got okay. Then we got nice, and then we got beautiful. Okay, so we don't have any bad or uglies.
Ugly. It's like
okay. This is what my assumption is that the family has come in, and I believe that probably some of our listeners have dropped the beautiful because they're trying to hook me up.
I could see
and then
that.
I'm imagining the 7 from OK Feet are just people who are browsing the wikiFeet page.
Right, like more of an honest take. Now, the only thing...
Can that be my new nickname?
Okay Feet. Dude, that's a merch drop if I've ever heard one. Just okay feet. Just a picture of her feet and they say okay. The only thing that I wish is that we could have comments. Because I want to dive into like...
Oh, I would love to read the comments if there were any.
You know what I bet it is, babe?
What is it?
I think it's 2 things.
Okay, there are comments.
So there's a okay.
It says hashtag Broad Squad for life. Look at this queen's hot toes. Bless you. Thank you
Bit
so
of nepotism
much.
There, though. You know what I mean? Like that's like your mom getting on there and being like, "My daughter is incredible." It's kind of like, well, okay, you know, you're not getting raw data.
I'm gonna call my mom and be like, "Can you go rate me on wikiFeet, please, and leave a nice comment?"
Okay, so here's the issue.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's twofold. So we've talked about the toe situation, which is you have longer toes.
I got that second long ass toe.
You have a longer second toe,
Yeah.
which apparently is not ideal for the foot community.
No.
Secondly, I think this is working against you. Size 10.
Okay, you know what?
You know what I mean? Like, here's my thing. I don't care, but I would imagine that like if you were a foot person, smaller. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong. Or bigger or more is better.
He says he
That's
doesn't
tough.
care, but every once in a while I stand next to him barefoot and he's like, wow, your feet are not that much smaller than mine.
Yeah, I'm like an 11.
Yeah.
11 and a half to 10.
You're like 6'2",
I'm like
6'3". Like,
yeah, and I'm like, you're not that far away from
I'm
me.
like 5'5", 5'6". But I will tell you this, everybody getting a women's shoe size 10, amazing.
Easy.
I always have they're never sold out. You go into the 7-8 department, you can barely find anything. If you go into, like Nordstrom's Rack or TJ Maxx, nothing good is left in the 7-8 department. 10s, I always got like the shoes that I want.
Now maybe that's my only thought is like maybe it's the size of the foot that makes, if you're a foot person, maybe the community kind of is more into the smaller foot. Mm-hmm. It's no judgment of mine at all. Zero judgment of mine, just purely me operating off of an observational, like this is the other brain, just going, hey, no emotion here, just purely analyzing.
So I just had to let everybody know that. And thank you to the member of the family who set up my wikiFeet. I so appreciate it. I truly do feel like, Mama, I've made it now. I do feel that way. I will tell you this. After the wikiFeet was created, and I did see that the ratings weren't going so good, and I didn't check it again just until now. I was at a party somewhat recently where it was a lot of OnlyFans creators.
Got it.
And I knew that numerous of them had, foot fetish accounts. And I was in one of those moods where I was just a little hyped up and probably being a little bit awkward. And I went up to so many people and I was like, I'm on wikiFeet and I have a horrible rating. Do you want to see my feet? And I was showing all these people.
And what did they say? Because these are experts.
They confirmed that I don't have the feet for the foot fetish
Did
community.
they really?
Yes.
So they were like, yeah, this is not going to work.
Yes, they were honest
And
about
did
it.
they have
But it was more of like, everyone was lovely, but I'm like, I came home that night and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why did I get so jazzed? And I was like, oh my God, I was so like thrilled to be around some of these like amazing creators. I'm like, guess what? I have a wikiFeet too. And look, it's horrible.
Right. But because I think that's something you do.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Like that's
part of what I need for my therapy.
You're very endearing, and you don't try to like flex on people or make people feel threatened. You offer up something that like makes the person feel good because you're like self-deprecating yourself.
But
which I'm sure
that's
is helpful in a social situation. But I think you have beautiful feet. I think your feet are very beautiful. And as a non-fetish person for the feet, I can say that. For I'll represent the community of people who are not feet people and say you have beautiful feet. So what I'm trying to say is I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I like your feet a lot. I think they're beautiful. I might have made it worse. I apologize. But you know what? Listen, we're not built for every lane. You can't have it all, babe.
I will tell you what, and I feel very confident about this when I say this. I think I'm so comfortable talking about it because I love my goddamn feet.
Wow.
I love my feet.
What an empowering story.
You know what I mean?
God, I'm inspired.
I've always liked the way my feet look.
Oh, there you go. That's all that matters.
And even when I found out that it's not the conventionally attractive foot for the foot fetish community, apparently, I was like, you know what? I like my feet. I have always, when I was younger, I always was admired because my foot grew faster. Like in second grade when everyone's comparing foot sizes, I was on top then because it was like, oh, I had huge ass shoes and everyone's like, oh my God, she's in adult shoes.
Count your wins.
And I was like, and I'm still going off of that. I'm still like, I got big ass feet and I'm on top, baby. I can stomp all the rest of you bitches out with my huge ass feet.
See, life is all about framing.
It's all about perspective.
How you frame things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could get in your head about it.
I really don't. And I would be honest if I was truly in my head about it. I do love my feet. And I will stand by the love of my feet. Even if I get okay feet ratings for the rest of my life, I like that okay feet rating.
Right.
And that will be merch. I love my feet.
I think your feet are beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you for the
babe,
support.
You'd kill it on wikiFace, okay? So, I mean, that's more, you know what I mean? So, you just, who cares? You expose your feet and you say, hey, everybody, live with these. Force them to look at them. And then, boom, then all of a sudden, you're set free from any issue. But it sounds like you've already done that. So I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Wow. wikiFeet. I mean, it's kind of a big deal. I do feel like it's like a rite of passage for being a A-list celebrity, I guess, at this
I'll tell you what, Evan's feet will never be on wikiFeet because Evan will never take off his socks or ever take off his shoes because he's insecure about his feet.
Didn't need that. Sick. You know what that was? You know what that was, guys? That's called when you... That's called... I don't know what that's called, but that's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not for you to say. That's for me to say. You can't offer up my deepest, darkest fears to those people, but also, you know what I mean, as like almost like a vulnerability. Like, I'm being vulnerable for you. You know what I mean? That was a patient doctor confidentiality that was broken right now.
I thought we were having a moment.
Unbelievable. No, you were having a moment. I was not a part of that moment. Okay, unbelievable.
We were flowing.
That was like you confessed to a sin or you confessed to a crime and then just outed everyone else in the crime. And they're like, whoa, I didn't say I was ready to go. I'm not going to jail yet. And you're like, it's been weighing on my conscience. These guys all did this crime. That's what that was. Unbelievable.
Sorry, I thought we were having a moment.
There it is.
Do you want to talk about it?
I'd love to. No, you know what? The way that I reframe things is I just go with my strengths. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And it's like my feet have been shoved in hockey skates my whole life during my development. And, they're real working man's feet. You know what I mean? They're not pretty. You know what I mean? So we just let it be. And we don't talk about it again. We shove it down deep inside and we never expose that again. It's really not a big deal.
I just wish you had your feet out more because I do like your feet.
I don't think that's true.
I do.
That's called a trap. And anyone out there who's married, learn from me, okay? I'm savvy I'm street savvy, and that is a trick. Unbelievable. You just ousted me like that. Incredible, you guys. Well, I'll get her back later on the pod.
Well, should we dive into some
I think we should.
Deep, personal, spicy questions
welcome to the foot episode.
Sorry for all the feet content, guys. Should we dive into some...
There's people who have like foot phobias and they're like vomiting in their car.
I know,
right
I'm
now.
so sorry. I forget about that. I forget that my
people
sister...
do have foot phobias.
My sister has a full foot phobia.
Yeah, people are like grossed out by feet.
Yeah, I apologize for anyone who has a foot phobia listening to this. I really don't, so I just don't even think about it. But
no, but some people, like your sister, is like, if you get your foot anywhere near, she's like,
she
oh
screams.
my god, stop!
She starts to like scream, borderline dry heave.
And I do understand it. Feet are kind of weird.
If you
they're like hands you don't see very often. You know what I'm saying? They're like hands that. They're like hands you forgot about, and then someone goes like, "Oh God, they have hands. They have other set of hands. I forgot about that." Because unless someone's wearing sandals or like, you know what I mean, it definitely like comes out of nowhere with the feet. You see the hands constantly, but feet are weird. It's like they're covered most of the time, and all of a sudden they come out, and it's like, oh, it's a whole different body part.
Question: what the fuck is this episode? What's happening today?
This is Friday, baby. All rules are off. The brain is turned off. We are no longer at work. We are Friday. It is. We are in it.
Oh, well, should we start with a question from the fam? Start with something light?
Yes.
Okay. Do you regret marrying Jessica?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's start with a fun one though, for real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you and Evan were on Love is Blind, do you think you would have connected in the pods?
Here's what I think. I think Jess would have connected. I think
every single person.
No, I think that most people would have connected with Jess. It's whether if Jess would have connected with me is the question. Because
nice.
Jess is super charming and
God.
open and sweet.
You're saying all this even
and she
after the
wins
foot
over
comment?
everybody. So I think that like I would go in there and then come out and then the three other guys would go in there and then we go back in the room and be like, if you talk to Jess, I'm like, oh my God, she's amazing. So I think it would be one of those things that would be like a little bit yours for the picking because, you know, I don't know, you just make people feel connected to you. So I think there'd be some broken hearts. I'll tell you that much.
Oh my God. I feel so flattered. I really think, and this is like, sounds, you know, like a line, but I actually do think we would really connect in the pods. I do. Because first of all, I'm very auditory and I love your voice. And so I think that I'd hear your voice and I'd be super into it right away. But we can have all sorts of problems in our life and relationship, but we've said it a million times. The one thing that we could always do is talk. So I really think that we would probably do really well together in the pods. The only issue would be your comfortability.
Yeah.
You know? Well, maybe both of us, because like I've said, I might be extreme in the pods. I might get so overdramatic and so, you know, very much, you know, I can feel and see and smell your soul, and that wouldn't be your vibe so much.
No.
So if I was going there, you might be like, I don't know who this woman is, but it's just not for me
on the
so
tactic
much.
you take.
It depends on my angle with you, but then it would also really depend on your energy, because I could see you being pretty uncomfortable on a reality TV show.
For me, it's all about booze. Like honestly,
I know you'd need a few
if I walked in there and
if
I
there's
could
cameras
have,
in your faces,
I could have
in
a
your
drink,
face and
it'd be a game changer. But if I had to go like 9 a.m. no coffee, walk in, rough.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's all about my like looseness. If I'm chill, middle of the day, maybe I've had a drink, that's my first initial thing into the show. I think I do okay. But I think if I didn't, it'd be really tough for me to be like, you know, so tell me, you know, what's your favorite color or whatever, you know? Also, yeah. Also,
what's your favorite color?
Also, I've never like, never been a big like phone person. Like, you know how people can kind of have like phone relationships where they're just talking on the phone for hours, and then they're FaceTiming each other constantly. Like one of our good friends is kind of like that in a relationship right now, where she'll just be like, "Oh yeah, I FaceTimed him for 3 hours," and I'm thinking to myself, "No way."
You know, it's interesting you say that. I never thought about that when it comes to Love is Blind. I hate the phone. I'm horrible on the phone. That is something that's connected you and I. We were never big, like, let's talk on the phone for hours. Let's FaceTime. We were like, okay, we'll text, we'll talk shortly, and then we'll see each other in person and we'll hold out for that period of time. Obviously, if you're in a situation where you're long distance, it's a very different deal. But I just don't do well on the phone either. So I wonder if maybe I would really struggle without seeing the person.
Yeah, like
and I'm awkward as hell on FaceTime. I'm so awkward on FaceTime.
Some people are so natural.
I know.
Like
I watch some of my friends
there and it's kind of like there and they're just like,
it.
anyway, yeah, totally. And they're just kind of back to it. Where like, I don't know. I feel like I gotta be in someone's presence.
Yeah.
Like I gotta feel their energy, feel their like body language. It all adds to it. But just auditory, I'd be over it. I'd be like, so anyway, like after like 20 minutes in that pod, I'd be like, cool. So like, are we good now? Like I think I'd be burnt out on the concept. So anyway, long story short.
Maybe we both flop in the pods. Neither of us would find love. It would be super awkward. I'd be super dramatic. You'd be super awkward. And that would be it. And we would never meet each other. End of story.
I also think, before we move on from this, I do think that me and you would really connect depending on like the energy. Like if you're like, let's say you really are wanting like positive, fun energy and you're in a positive, fun vibe. And then you talk to someone who's like Mr. Positive Fun guy. And then I come on. You might be like, Evan's
you're involving in a day of reckoning.
Yeah. Evan's a little salty.
Yeah.
Cause like, I'm like, I think part of my like, I don't want to say charm, but I don't want to say part of my like incredible charm and my like incredible kind of sexual just energy has anything to do with being salty. But I do feel like
you are.
My humor and kind of my personality is a little bit more like rough around the edges. Mm-hmm. It's not like, we're going to go to a Tony Robbins conference. So I think, it depends. I'm a taste,
I've always liked salty.
Hey.
Okay, let's take a quick pause before we get into more questions.
Got it.
I'm nervous for some of these. Some of these are intense. Some of these, I'm working my way up to it. Okay,
scary.
Family. So if you are someone who chooses to shave, I have to tell you about Athena Club. If you haven't already heard, because I have absolutely loved my experience with Athena Club and their products specifically. Their razor kit, these razors are absolutely incredible. I mean, there are thousands of 5-star reviews speak for themselves, but this razor is designed with built-in skin guards to help prevent razor burn while being gentle on curves. Plus, the razor blade is surrounded by water-activated serum with shea butter and hyaluronic acid, which is the holy grail of skincare. They're incredible razors.
Yeah, they're incredible. Insane. I love them. The best part is the razor kit is only $10 and comes with 2 blade heads, a magnetic hook for shower storage, and your choice of handle color.
And they have such cute colors. And I keep my magnetic hook up on my bathtub wall. I love a bath, a million baths. And it works so well and it looks chic and organized. And with Athena Club, you never have to think about blade refills because you choose how often you want your replacement blades shipped to you for free. And you'll never be stuck with an overused blade longer than it should be used for. And P.S. Athena Club also has the most amazing shave foam. Oh my goodness, it makes my body feel so soft and luxurious. It's amazing. And also, just check out their whole website. They have so many incredible products that cover wellness, period care, skincare, all of it.
Head to athenaclub.com and use code MOMDAD for 25% off your first order. Again, that's athenaclub.com and use code MOMDAD for 25% off. Athena Club has also launched in Target stores nationwide, so make sure to check out the shaving aisle to buy their products in-store in real life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so check this out. Americans spend an average of 90% of their time indoors. And if you're me, that's probably more like 99.999%
That's probably more like 100%
of my time indoors. But according to the EPA, indoor air could be 2 to 5 times more polluted than outdoor air. And in some cases, it could be 100 times more polluted, which is horrifying, okay? So what's a solution? Let's talk about Air Doctor, an air purifier that captured the attention of established media outlets like CNN, Money, ABC, and more.
Air Doctor filters out dangerous contaminants and allergens so your lungs don't have to. It uses an ultra HEPA filter that's been independently tested to remove 99.99% of tested bacteria and viruses. They are absolutely amazing, and their classic Air Doctor 3000 purifier is powerful enough to circulate the air in a 360 plus square foot room 4 times per hour.
They really are incredible. We have 2, and we've noticed such a huge difference since we got them a while back, especially with all of our allergies.
Oh
okay, but a huge difference. Allergens can vary in size, but the average pollen size is about 25 microns. Air Doctor virtually removes 100% of particles as small as 0.003 microns in size. It's incredible. But Air Doctor also comes with a no questions asked 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't love it, just send it back for a refund minus the shipping.
So head to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code MOMDAD. And depending on the model, you receive up to 40% off. You are saving up to 40% off. Lock in this special offer by going to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code MOMDAD.
Okay, back to it.
Okay.
Celebrity Hall Pass, baby. Who's the Celebrity Hall Pass? I would not know.
Didn't I just tell you this the other day?
I mean, I know you love Emily Blunt.
Oh, I did love Emily Blunt.
You love Emily Blunt.
But Hall Pass is interesting.
Yeah.
So is Hall Pass like hookup? Or so Hall Pass isn't like, your screen
marriage.
Life?
Yeah. What about we do both? Marriage and hookup. Celebrity.
Okay, marriage would have to be 90s Julia Roberts.
Oh, yeah. We love Julia Roberts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She has that glow, It's just an absolute 90s glow. Okay, you do screen husband.
Screen husband. Okay, so everyone probably knows that it would have been Jason Sudeikis, but with all the Olivia Wilde, like he stirred the papers. I don't even know what went down, but it really soured.
It soured.
It really soured some things for me. So now I would probably say Paul Rudd.
He's a good one.
He just seems just like the most incredible, wonderful man. I feel like he'd have the best conversations. He's so handsome, so charming.
You don't have to keep going. That's enough.
Paul Rudd.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, now hookup. Mm-hmm. Well, my long-standing one was Kate Beckinsale.
Yes, for forever. When we started dating, I think it was Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Is it still?
Boy, do I have more. No. Yeah. Do I have a different one? Oh, you know, there's kind of one. This is a weird one.
Okay.
This is random.
Okay.
Not weird as in, it's just more like you're not going to see it coming.
Okay.
The actress who plays not Angelina Jolie, but the actress who plays Tomb Raider.
That's Angelina Jolie.
No, there's another one.
There's a new one?
No, not new. I mean, it's probably 10 years old.
Let me see.
But she has like an accent too. It's kind of a vibe.
You love an accent. Let me see. This one?
Yeah.
Alicia Vikander?
Yeah.
I don't even know who this is.
I just saw her like on a random and you know me. I'm a big personality guy too.
Yeah.
That plays into it. Mm-hmm. I'm not just looks. Praise me. So I saw her on like a random Conan thing.
Okay, and was she so charming?
She was very charming.
Okay. All right. Okay. I have two.
Okay. Yeah, whoa.
You just gave two. You just gave two. Kate Beckinsale and Alicia Vikander. Okay, I would say Cillian Murphy.
I mean, yeah.
Cillian Murphy is just, you know, he oozes.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And the accent, too.
I can't hate on that one. Yeah, that's...
And Henry Golding.
Henry Golding. Oh, my goodness. Can you look up Henry Golding, dude?
He's from Crazy Rich Asians, The Gentleman.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's cool. He's got cool guy vibes.
Henry Golding is stunning. And
I heard he's an idiot, though. No, I'm just kidding. Like, you're insecure when you're like, just when you're shitting on the celebrity crushes. You're like, well, I did hear that he didn't pay his taxes or something, you know? No, he's very cool. He's got cool vibes. Very cool. He's got suave. Okay, I see it. Okay. All right, I love it.
Yes, he's definitely... Cillian Murphy, Henry Golding, for sure.
Those are both very cool. So you like cool guys?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, but it's interesting because, yeah, you want to hook up with the cool guy, marry Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd's cool,
I'd
but
be
Paul
fine.
Rudd's like,
I'd also be fine marrying Cillian Murphy and Henry Golding. I'm not opposed to that either.
Right, but we kind of put them in. We kind of had different category vibes.
Right? Yeah.
You know what, dude? I'm already over this game.
Okay, what's the tattoo that means the most to you?
Oh, I would say I have a little Minnie Mouse here. Mm-hmm. And I just, it's a silly little tattoo, but it's for M. And
when she was really little, she was obsessed with Minnie Mouse.
With Minnie Mouse. And for me, it just like signifies a time when she was just a little ball of light and a little cute pie, and she was just like, I don't know, like life was so, it was just so simple, and we were just like figuring it out together, and it was like raw, and me and you were like figuring out what it meant to be parents. And so for me, that tattoo not only just symbolizes her, but also symbolizes kind of where we were at, and kind of, I don't know, like it was just such a raw, real moment in time, like a really beautiful moment. So that,
I have a hard time choosing between two. One is on my neck, and Evan has a matching one, and it says "Burn Bright Baby," which is for Ember. And Evan wrote a song for Ember and called it "Burn Bright Baby." And that song,
and it didn't have Blarney Stone in it.
There was no Blarney Stone reference.
It didn't have any Blarney Stone. I should have put that in there now that I think about it.
There was no Blarney Stone reference, but if I hear that song, I will cry on the spot. And I also remember that time too, when you're talking about certain times, that was like a hard transition time in our life. There was a lot going on with our families, with our faith. There was so much. And I remember you were really going through it and struggling with kind of like, you know, moving forward in life and how you felt about certain things. And I remember you coming into the studio and like feeling like you were in a rough headspace and being in the studio until like 3 a.m. and then coming out of the studio and your eyes were all red. I'm going to start crying. And your eyes were all red. And, you know, you basically kind of had this moment when you were in here where you were like, regardless of what's happening, like I have you and Ember is just this joy and light in our life, no matter how like tough parenting can be and all that. And so you just wrote this song because you were struggling and then you were just thinking about your daughter. And then I heard that song and I was like, whoosh.
Yeah.
So that tattoo definitely holds a lot of memories to me. And then also I would say I have one on my throat that says, "Sit, feast on your life." And that's actually a poem that you shared with me, a Derek Walcott poem called Love After Love. And I've posted it on Instagram a million times.
Yeah.
That poem hit me in the gut. And it's always a good reminder for me because in my anxiety and my space where I can just get so caught up in the minutia, to be honest, that poem, I know a lot of it symbolizes love, but also it's a poem that helps me focus on remembering to like take in those moments and to, at the end of our life, like what's going to matter. And so I say that to myself a lot when I'm struggling and when I'm feeling super anxious, to just sit, feast on your life and just to soak it up, break bread, bring wine, sit together, conversate.
Yeah.
So
beautiful.
Those are 2 big ones for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is interesting too when you think about like our different personalities too. How even just those are deeper and more like, you know, like you were thinking about the heaviness of a time, and I'm thinking about like when things were lighter. It's fascinating how like it's almost like what you need depending on like what you're thinking about something in a positive way. It almost is like because of what you want or need in that time. If you're feeling like, I'm obviously in a day of reckoning vibe, so I'm thinking about like sweeter times and like, you know what I mean? And then like you're thinking about like connected times.
I'm always thinking about heavier
times. But you also
times.
are always a heavy person. But yeah.
About my 4 Enneagram is always just, I love to just be in the melancholy of life.
Yeah, that's true.
I like to be in the melancholy of life, and then I like to laugh everything and joke about everything, but simultaneously be in just that.
You like to feel the feels. Beautiful.
Nothing more than feeling the feels. That's what I love.
I love it, babe. That's why I love you.
Let's see. Okay, well, speaking of Ember, hot topic question that was thrown out there many times was, will you have another child? Which I feel like I get that question a lot, and I don't know if I've talked about it in recent days. People always want to know, do we want to have another kid? Evan?
My thought?
This is the first time we're having this conversation, and it's going to be on the podcast in front of all of you. Him and I have never discussed it.
Never once. Okay, here's my thought on it. It's super torn. Like, the answer is yes. But then it's also like, the raw answer is like, yeah, it sounds amazing. You know what I mean? Like, having a bigger family and having, you know, more going on around the house in that way, it sounds amazing. But I think there's also the level of like being honest with yourself in this moment, being like, can you handle it now that you've done it once? Are you willing and open to have what comes with that? And also the mystery of it, right? There's so many like variables that go into having a child and bringing a child into your life and how you're going to handle it and work and your mental space. So I think for me is it's like the final product of like having another beautiful child in your home. It's like, yes. But I think also being real with like where we're at currently and how hectic life is and how much we're, at least for me, like trying to keep it together. That's where I'm super torn. Yeah. So the answer is yes, but the answer is also like not in this moment.
Yeah.
Or like, how, I don't know if the stars will ever align, if they will, if they won't, but that's kind of where my headspace is torn.
Yeah. I feel super torn too. And that's kind of what our conversation has been over the past few years where, I'm like, sounds wonderful, but I also love having our little family.
Exactly,
I love just having the three of us and the pups. And I also, if I'm being fully transparent, when I got pregnant with Ember, I had a huge shift. So I've discussed this in like old podcast episodes, but I was really, really deep in struggles with my bipolar disorder, and medicated before I got pregnant with Ember. And then as soon as I got pregnant with Ember, I had to go off the medication. And during my pregnancy, something shifted chemically in my body and I felt like a new person and I felt so much better and so much more regulated, and it was incredible. And I was in shock and I still don't quite understand that. And that continued for the next few years. And in the past few years, I'm feeling all the bipolars and all the anxieties and depressions coming back and creeping their way back in the past few years and starting to work through that and kind of having it reintroduce itself to me. But if I'm being perfectly honest, there is a part of me that feels nervous that if I do get pregnant again, I'm like, oh my God, what if it takes a turn in the opposite direction and my mental health gets way worse? And then what if I don't feel like I'm capable to be there for my little ones? And I have to think about Ember through that too. So that's definitely, if I'm being fully honest, a big process in my mind. Big conversation too is maybe in the future adopting a child. I think that's more something that we've talked about.
Totally open to that.
And talk to Ember a little bit about it and her thoughts. And if it's something that's going to happen in the future, it's going to be a conversation with the family.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just like, it's like anything. It's like, if you can design the perfect trajectory, that's very different, right? If you can be like, oh my gosh, my mental health improves, the pregnancy's easy, the child comes out, no health scares at all. They're the mellowest kid ever, and they just sit there and go, hey, how's it going? Then you're like, okay, yeah, in those worlds, you're like, oh, like if I can write the script, maybe we could pull this off.
Yeah.
But we all know that like that's not how life works. And like when you go down this road and you're responsible for another life,
a human being,
you have to be open to everything going a certain way. A pregnancy not going the way you thought, the mental health stuff like you're talking about going in the opposite direction. There's so many outlying factors that like when you go down this path, you have to be okay with and be like, I'm willing to, take the risk and step into these issues. So I think for me, it's like, until we're able to go down that road, I think we're waiting.
Yeah. We're waiting.
That's it.
And if it is ultimately just me, you, and Ember, I am happy as a clam.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm not feeling like there's a huge hole. You know what I mean?
No.
Also, if you guys have ever met her, we basically have 3 kids. Okay. Like my mom said to me, she goes, you have 2 kids. She has the energy of 3 kids.
Yeah.
So her just like, guess what I did today and what we're doing today. It's
Ember has a zest for life that I cannot compare to anyone else. And Evan and I are both pretty low key, mellow people.
Yeah.
And Ember is like a lightning bolt. Like she just wants to go, try new, which I think has been amazing for us. Like it's really opened us up a lot too, to like doing more things and just mixing up our lives more and always going. And, but yeah, it's definitely, she's a wild woman.
An ideal house setup for me and Jess would be like some chill music going on at the house, some vibe lights, us quietly working. if Ember could have our house set up the way it would be, we would have a DJ playing 24/7
hours a day, even while she sleeps,
with concert lighting.
And she'd be sleeping in her bed, just like fist pumping while she's sleeping.
Like, all I gotta do to get Ember amped up, I can look at her and go like this, and she'll be like, she'll start dancing.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, here we go. Let's go.
You
Let's
just
go.
give her a beat, and
Ramp
she'll
it
go
up.
from being in the middle of something to just full out dancing. And her body, she can't even contain.
Like, just the other day, she had a burger in her hand, and then I was just like, everybody, and she just started going like with the burger, and she was doing spins. It's like, she's literally just give her the license. Side note, I gotta tell you, this is like the most random thing ever, but you know this story, but I just had to bring this up because this is the funniest story. I was talking to my mom earlier, and a couple years ago, we went to Montana. And I don't, this story means this is no recollection. Like, there's no connection to what we're talking about, but I have to just talk about this story because it's the most insane thing ever. I think you know what I'm going to say. We were in Montana, and
this is a few years ago.
A couple years ago, we were in Montana. Yeah, that's probably, she's 7 now. I don't know. She was 4 maybe at the time. We were in Montana, and we were at this house, and the house overlooks this big yard. Okay. And on the top yard, she was with my parents eating like lunch. I was in the house working, and I was right by this window. All of a sudden, I see Ember run across the lawn by herself, and I'm like, where are my parents? What's going on? She runs over to the lawn, looks around. By the way, she's never done this, like ever, never once before or after this. Looks around, pulls her pants down, and takes a dump in the middle of the lawn overlooking a mountain range. Pulls her pants up.
It was too beautiful.
Pulls her pants up and just runs back to my parents to lunch. And I'm sitting there like I was frozen solid. Like, I've never seen, I almost felt like the wild just called her for a minute. And she just was like, what's that feeling? And she ran to the lawn and just said, I have to mark this territory. Took a dump in the middle of a lawn and then ran back. It was still just, I don't know, you guys, I don't know why I brought this up. I just had this conversation before I came here, and it was like, still can't believe that happened.
I remember you calling me, and you were like, Jess, because I was like, back home.
You will not believe.
Jess, has she ever done this before? I'm like, no.
It was absurd. Anyway, just random Ember story of the day.
Ember is, I know people are like, oh, your kid, we don't need to hear about your kid. Ember is the kindest, big-hearted human being I've ever met. Adult, child, anything.
Yes.
I'm so excited to watch her grow up because
she is electric.
I know that I'm biased, but I'm like, that kiddo is going to change some people's lives for the better because she just has the biggest heart in the entire world. I mean, I just told her a few days ago that she's going to get a new cousin. And the second I say it, I'm like, guess what? You have a new cousin. Your cousin's on the way. You know, Auntie's pregnant. She looked at me and she starts bawling because she was just like, I'm so happy, just overcome with joy. She just has such a big heart.
Such a big heart. And
always comes home from school and is just like, this person was feeling sad and I went over and made sure that they were okay. And, you know, she's just, she's amazing.
She's very empathetic.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the day of reckoning's day.
She doesn't have the day of reckoning. That's for sure.
She doesn't have that.
Okay, let's see. What's next? Do you have a question, Evan, that you want to pull from?
Yes. The question is, what is the cause, or what do you fight about most?
Okay.
Which I thought was an interesting one.
Should we say it at the same time and see if we say the same thing?
Okay. Well, okay, hold on. I'm trying to figure this out. Yeah, let's try it. Ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Money.
Time. Insane. I don't feel like we fight about money. I feel like you don't like talking about money.
Are we fighting right now? Because I guess that's true. I don't like talking about money. It gives me so much anxiety. The second that finances are brought up, I think that there's a lot of love you, mom and dad, but parental stuff that comes up.
Yeah.
So the idea of having to like hash out, you know, hey, we really need to cut back in this way and feeling nervous about this, like any sort of worry, I'm like, I can't talk about it. Okay, what do you mean time? What do you mean time?
Okay, with time, I feel like, and here's the thing. I will cop to this. I tend to try and do long things when there's not much time left.
Yes, Evan, like when there's just like a little bit of time, that's when you decide to like do a project where I'm like, this project's going to take 12 hours and you got 30 minutes.
Yes.
And so then we're all stressed and trying to figure out how to make something work in 30 minutes that should be a full day project.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because I'm kind of a workaholic, I tend to try to slide work in when there's like, we're not supposed to be working.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, let's travel back to like a vacation time where it's like, you know, we get back to the hotel room and he's trying to figure out a way of how to get work in between getting back to the hotel room and dinner.
Yes.
And I understand that sometimes, you know, you do what you got to do, but because I know you love it, then sometimes I can get a little salty. Be like,
100%.
You don't need to do this right now.
Yeah. And we'll have some knockdowns about it. I mean, it'll
For sure, yeah.
Because it's one of those things too, like, you know, I think because it's like a coping mechanism for me and you don't use it as a coping, like for you, work is work.
Yeah.
Work isn't something you kind of like feel addicted to at all.
No.
Where for me, it's like,
I love hanging.
Where for me, if I know,
I like sleeping and hanging out.
Yeah, right. Okay, here's the thing. Me and Jess, which is another question we saw, but like me and Jess have a ton in common, like our like things we love to do and how we talk and everything. But one thing we are so different at is work, how we work and how we think about the day.
Yes.
Like for me,
and how we handle stress.
You know? And you know, those are kind of related because work and stress can be kind of similar, but I tend to kind of like being in it and kind of working through it. And it's kind of a pragmatic thing for me. It's like a solution to be solved.
Yeah.
Where Jess is kind of like, what's the shortest way we can get this thing over with? I don't really want to be doing this any much longer than I have to be. And so because...
Or I extend it unnecessarily.
Yeah. Or you'll go on with something that I'm like, this doesn't have to be as hard as it should be. So we just like operate differently.
I panic work.
Yeah.
I panic work, which I can cop to. It's something that I've been trying to work on over the years, is that instead of trying to just sit and be like, okay, let's write a list out of like what needs to be done and the efficient way to solve this, and there can be a solution, I panic.
Right.
I like throw all my things in the air.
Right. But I think...
And I'm like, I need a nap. Just throw everything in the air.
But I think that's like creativity. You know what I mean? Like creativity doesn't come perfectly when you need it at the right time. Yeah. It comes when it comes. And I think that like that can be stressful too, because that can be at 1 a.m. and then we're needing to work through that or whatever. Now, an attachment to this question is, what do you think is at the core of your arguments? Because I think a lot of times what happens with me and you is that we're not arguing about the thing. We're arguing about how we're approaching the thing.
I think that the core would be definitely just that we handle stress very differently.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest thing.
I really think it is, because me and you generally like are on the similar pages when it comes to like what we should do. It's not like we rarely are ever like, that's the wrong thing to do and that's the right thing to do.
I feel like in general, we typically like the way we think about like how we want to approach life, how we want to approach family, parenting, like all of that is typically very in sync.
Yes.
It's when stress hits and then the way that we handle it that is the core of the arguments for sure.
And there's two levels to this. One is the way I handle stress is I intentionally try to remove emotion from it and go, okay, I'm stressed. I'm a little like, you know, you're scared. When you're stressed, it means you're like scared. You're like scared of like the outcome, or you're trying to control the outcome. So I try to go, okay, take a deep breath, remove the emotion from it, and like, what do we got to do? What Jess, this is my opinion, what Jess needs in those stressful moments is comfort.
Yes.
And just to be told like, I got you. Are you okay? How are you doing? Let's work through this together. What can I do to help you?
Yes.
That is not how my brain works. Because I'm in the middle of like function. I'm in the middle of like solve mode. And when you're telling me I need to slow down and ask how you're doing, that's when, like, if I'm having a good day, I can do it. And when I'm having a bad day, I can't.
Yeah.
And that, or I really struggle.
Yeah.
And I think it exposes my weakness when it comes to collaboration sometimes, because my brain is like, let's just do it this way. Let's get it out of the way.
You can be a bit of a lone wolf.
I can a little bit.
Yeah.
I can be. And I would say that's a weakness of mine. It's a weakness of mine because it's like our best stuff is when we work together. My best stuff in my life that I've ever done is when I'm working with people, not just doing everything alone. But it's like some weird, trigger where I'm like, it's almost like a stress mechanism where I'm like, let me just do it, get it over with, even if it's not the best way,
Yeah.
And then that's when we'll really butt.
And I'm like, when the stress hits, my anxiety is flaring, and I'm like, now is the time for comfort and community.
Yes.
Like, the stress hits, and now's the time when I need to have the friends over to sit and eat together and talk. And I need you to cradle me like a baby and tell me that we're going to make it to the next day.
Yes.
And then I'll calm myself enough to approach and handle whatever that stress may be.
Yes. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's just like it's so predictable too for us. It's like you see it coming a mile away.
A mile away, we know when it's coming. A mile away. Now, where I then can, and this is, throughout the 18 years of us being together, you learn how to speak the other person's language a little better. And I feel like absolutely, as the years have progressed, we've gotten better at handling disagreements and stress.
Yeah, you'll meet me with going, all right, take a deep breath, remove emotion, let's just get to the solution. And I'll meet you going like,
you're going to be okay.
There's someone on the other side of this conversation that I need to care about while I'm talking,
Yeah.
So we'll meet each other in the middle. But when we really blow out is when we clearly both say, fuck it.
I don't know, like I'm doing it my way.
You know what I mean? But you kind of see it in each other's eyes like, no, fuck it. You need to stop. You know what I mean? And you just see the like, I'm not backing down. I'm not backing down from my opinion on this. Either you come to me and that's it. And I feel like you'll see it. You can tell.
Oh, we know. And what's so funny too is sometimes it's like we both see it in each other's eyes, and it's like we could so easily.
It's a 2-word thing and it's over.
Just 2-word, but we could so easily just diminish it. And then sometimes it's just like, nah, it's time. It's time.
And it's like 3 hours later, you're like, why did you do this?
Like, why would we do this? Why would we could have just been playing Zelda instead.
It's the weakness, when you're having a weak day.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. Because it's just like, I'm not doing it. Today's not the day. And then, it's like, that's, now you're off to the races,
Oh,
but,
and I'm a stubborn person.
Something you guys don't know about Jess. You can tell I'm salty. You know what? The surprise of Jess is that Jess, when she feels backed into a corner, she does not cower.
No, I don't.
No, it's the claps when everything comes out, because she goes, well, you pushed me up against the wall. Do you think you got me?
Yeah.
Snap. Wow.
Oh yeah.
And she'll come at you.
I'm like, I would consider myself to be a sweet, kind person. But when I am pushed against a wall, my Scorpio moon comes out, and it's like, oh, we're not backing down for nothing.
Yeah. And then
you're Pisces moon, and then I win.
Yeah, honestly, if she starts to launch a defense, that's when it really goes down.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's the thing. This is the point of it, is it's always a journey in relationships. Yeah. No relationship is perfect. We argue. I mean, I will say again, over the 18 years, like, it has gotten less. Obviously, there are times of stress where it increases, but we've learned through our own personal therapy and through just, so many arguments together, how to handle it better. And so we've gotten better at it, but it's going to be like this. This is just the forever journey. Yeah. 2 different people.
You try and learn from the last one.
Yes,
that's the key.
That's the key.
And it's so simple. It really is simple, but like on paper.
And then it's so always the reminder of we're on the same team.
Yes.
We're on the same team.
At the end of the day, we're on the same team.
We're on the same team. We want to get to the same place because we love each other.
Yes.
We're on the same team.
Right? Is that what we say?
That's
on the
what
same
we say.
team? Okay, cool.
Okay, quick pause before the next question. So family, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Listen, you are getting to know us a little better in this episode, and honestly, I'm getting to know myself a little better. And the fact of the matter is, getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, just like Evan and I were talking about, especially because we're always growing and changing, and we love therapy because therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding, because sometimes we don't know what we want or why we react the way we do until we talk through things. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are.
You all know my therapy journey has been more of a recent one, and it's changed my life and our relationship for the better in more ways than I can say. Like learning positive coping skills and setting better boundaries. If you too are thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule.
Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/momdad today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/momdad. Support for today's episode comes from Honey Love. It's true, it's that time of year when I'm wearing those short, tight dresses and loving it. And personally, I like wearing shapewear with those short dresses so I don't have the panty line situation, but I'm also covered. The issue is, most all shapewear I have ever worn is wildly uncomfortable, and do not get me started on the trying to use the bathroom situation, okay? Well, all that drama disappeared with Honey Love. Honey Love is your go-to for all things shapewear. It is so comfortable. I love their best-selling Superpower short. Like I said, I like the downstairs all covered up, and it's designed to work with your body, not against it. I like the way the boost bands make my butt pop. Yes, it does. And guess what? You won't have to worry about it rolling down, which is unheard of in shapewear, thanks to flexible boning that's hidden in the side seams. And let's address this. Struggling to take off a tight piece of shapewear with a bathroom line out the door like we were saying? Honey Love's shapewear has a 100% cotton gusset, so you can skip the extra undies. Plus, it has a convenient opening in the panty area for super easy bathroom access. No costume change required. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. And Honey Love has more than just sculpt wear. They have incredibly comfortable bras, tanks, and leggings for everyday support. I love their leggings so much. They are so comfortable. Treat yourself to the best shapewear on the market and save 20% off at honeylove.com with the code MOMDAD. Use code MOMDAD at honeylove.com. Okay, have we ever had a threesome? No, we haven't. We haven't ever had a threesome, though we have been propositioned for a threesome.
Weirdly a lot.
I don't know what it is.
Like, we've been propositioned for threesomes at like hotels, like where we're just at a pool.
Yeah, a few times.
We must give off threesome vibe.
I guess maybe. I'm not sure. I think, you know what it was? I think back when we used to be more fashionable, we'd go out and I feel like we would wear I'd wear like a lot of chains, you know.
Yeah,
we'd have maybe a little bit of a BDSM vibe a little bit. So I think sometimes we were propositioned in a way of like, oh, these.
I'd wear a ball gag to the beach. And people were like,
are you interested? He's like, I don't know why.
What are you talking about? This is a retainer. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know why. Am I giving you that energy? Just trunks and a ball gag.
Yeah. I remember though asking a friend of ours, because we were out at a bar one night and a couple came up to us. Well, not a threesome, a foursome, I guess. A couple came up to us and was propositioning us. And so I asked one of our friends, I was like, why do you think that this happens a lot? And he's like, I think it's the way that you guys dress.
Interesting.
And that was at the time, again, when we used to be more fashionable. So
now it's like, for some reason, the two people in sweats aren't getting hit up for threesomes as much anymore.
The time has passed.
The people getting sangria and nachos by the pool aren't really getting hit up for the sexy threesome that they once were when they.
Not anymore. Okay, biggest financial mistake that we've made. And I think I for sure know.
Okay.
And it's over time. Biggest financial mistake, how much we eat out.
Oh, interesting. Yes.
I mean, we still eat out a lot, but when we first got married, we would spend so much money on going to restaurants constantly.
Yeah.
Like it was ridiculous. But that's one of the things we love doing. We love going out to a nice meal, having a drink and sitting and talking for hours. That's one of our favorite things. But I think instead of making it a treat and a fun thing to do, we made it like a regular habit, and we've burned through way too much money just irresponsibly because of that.
I was not expecting that answer, and that is very true.
Yeah.
Especially when we were younger.
Yeah.
And it's like you're broke and you're still just spending all your money
it's like
on
we
food.
didn't have any money and we were just spending every penny we had to go out to restaurants constantly. Evan was working at a restaurant and still we were like, I'd pick him up from work and we go, let's go to a restaurant and spend all the money that you just made. So instead of saving, we could have saved a lot of money early on.
A lot. But you know what? Let's not think about it. So now I have anxiety.
But you know what? We did enjoy those times and they're great memories. Some of my best memories.
Yeah, seriously.
But I think it's balance. We went too hard in the paint.
Yeah.
We could have made it more of a treat, like I was saying.
And then another one, not investing earlier.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you're on the fence with it, do it. You won't regret it. All right, next.
I got so many of what's Evan's job. I feel like you've mentioned this before, but
I did it on Bros.
Okay, yeah. People want to know what your job is. The mystery job.
Yeah. It's like, Zach,
CIA.
I'm a stripper.
CIA agent.
Yeah, I can't tell you. No, okay, so so I'm a musical director.
He doesn't know what he does.
Well, no, I always have to like explain this. Okay, so I'm a musical director. So what I do is I help build live shows. So an artist will finish their album in the studio. They'll come to me. Then I will find the band, come up with the live arrangements, build all the tech out to have everything talk to each other on stage, all the equipment, be talking to the light guy, talking to the fire, talking to the LED wall, all that stuff. I'll be kind of working with a team of people to build out a live show. So I'm on the music side more specifically of building out a live show. And then I work with the rest of the team to kind of build out the entire show.
Mm-hmm. He's very good. He's very good at what he does.
I hope that explains. It's a very weird niche job, but that's what I do.
It is. Whenever I'm like, he's a music director.
People think it's like a freaking orchestra.
Yeah, they think you're like a conductor of a giant
that
orchestra. That would be cool.
Yeah, and I just need like wild hair. I use one of my many wigs from the show. At this point, I feel like I have a wig collection.
It's true.
Like over the years, it's just like I have 500 wigs. Most recently, Zelda wig, which is my personal
One
favorite.
of the bad financial decisions we've made is
I've
Evan's
$400,000 on wigs at this point. Ember's college is gone.
Okay. How often do you all have sex? Okay.
Well, we're down. We were 7 times a day. Now we barely have sex. Now it's like 3 times a day, I think.
Something like that. Something like that. Okay, so before I give you a quasi answer to this question, I've talked about this before. I don't like to give out numbers.
Right.
Because I feel like I remember growing up and reading like all those Cosmo magazines where they were like, the average couple has this much sex every single week or every single month. And I remember reading that and that number getting cemented into my head. And then once I'm with a partner, feeling in my head about that number, like insecure if that number wasn't met. And I'm going, oh my God, but the average. And I was just battling with that constantly. And I think that that's not a way to approach intimacy and a sexual relationship. Like it's not about the average or about like meeting a certain number compared to other people. So I don't like to throw numbers out.
Yeah.
I'll say this. We absolutely vary wildly.
Yeah.
It's times in life, it's stress, it's before kiddo, It's early on in the relationship, it's vacation, it's, we'll have seasons where we're having sex a lot more regularly. And then we'll have times where, fact of the matter is, we're like barely ever having sex.
Yeah.
And we'll go a long time. And when I say a long time, I'll just say this. I'm not talking about those couples who are like, oh my God, it's been so long. It's been like a week. No, we'll go a while.
Yeah.
When those times hit, for sure. When life hits and are busy and I'm, in my head about work, or I'm in my head about life and whatever's going on. And, I think it's really varies. I have, that's one of my that's a passion point for me, where I'm like, it's okay to not be having sex constantly. It's about what your desires and wants are. And obviously when you're with a partner and your partner is like, hey, I'm feeling a certain way, then that's a different communication conversation, and that's between you and your partner. But also, if you're both like, not in that zone, that's fine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think like it ebbs and flow. I will say this. We let it ebb and flow like we do.
Yes.
And that kind of works for us now. And it might not work for us later. And it might work for us forever.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people like schedule sex when they're married, and like, on Friday nights, no matter what we go, we have sex night. You know what I mean?
And
no matter
I think
what.
that's great for a lot of people.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like, some people look at it like this is a very important part of like, this is what allows us to connect. Mm-hmm. And I think for me and Jess it's like that we might be there. We might need that one day, and we might never need it. We might want it. Like, it's one of those things. It's like it ebbs and flows. Like, our sex life doesn't look like it was 5 years ago, and it didn't look like it did 5 years ago. And in 5 years, it won't look exactly like it is now. It changes, just how we change as people.
Totally.
I think because we talk a lot, we hang out a lot. So it's like, I could also imagine if I was gone all day working, you were doing your thing, we never saw each other except on that one day on Friday, that it would be like different. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's all relative to our thing. For right now though, we just let it ebb and flow like our personal relationship and like our current life. So like you said, we'll go in patches where it's like very consistent.
Yep.
And then we'll go in patches where it's not really a part of, like, it's not very much a part of that month, or whatever. And it's like, but we're still hanging out, talking, have a good time. So it's also just like, it's like a part of the brain too. You know what I mean? It's like whatever's going on.
Intimacy and partnership is so important, but intimacy doesn't always have to mean sex.
Exactly.
During certain seasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think it's finding intimacy in different ways. And sometimes for us, that'll be like, we're going through a heavy sex phase, and sometimes that'll be like we're having a lot of sit down conversations together at dinner and getting deep, and sometimes it's spooning all night, even if I'm sweating my face off, like whatever it is, it's
also weird too. We'll also have times where we're more frequent with sex, and me and you aren't even talking that much. So it can be reversed, where it's like sometimes we're talking a lot and not having a lot of sex.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's it's almost like the intimacy is met in different forms.
Exactly.
And the truth is that sometimes we are missing each other.
Sometimes it's like,
sometimes one of us is in a zone where it's like, I need that physical intimacy right now, and the other person is in more of like I need romantic, emotional intimacy more. Hard. And that can be really hard.
That's really hard when someone wants the physical and the other person wants the emotional, but the other person who wants the physical isn't feeling emotionally connecting. That's when that's definitely like when when you're not having lots of sex is the harder, as opposed to like the ebbing and flowing, like you're saying, not worried about a number.
But when that's happening, then it's just extremely important to communicate with each other how you're feeling, as uncomfortable as that can be. I know it's a very uncomfortable conversation. It's a very vulnerable conversation, and it can also result in hurt feelings sometimes because you're going to have to be honest and transparent with your partner. But communication, even if it is uncomfortable and can hurt feelings in the moment, is so important to maintain that intimacy in relationships, I think.
Yeah, and it's it's one of those things too. It can be used like a bank account when you're talking to people. Mm-hmm. How much money do you have? How much sex do you have?
Yeah.
It can be one of those things that's a little like,
and that's why I don't like it.
It can be a weird pressure for people where it's like, there's people who have tons of sex and not have a lot of sex and can be equally happy, but the person who like has less sex feels a pressure in a conversation,
of course,
to like juice the numbers up, to kind of be like, I'm not you know what I mean? We're like, I'm cool too. It's like this weird pressure. Like,
and well, this feels like because like societally, it's like we have to, there's something to prove, even if like,
it's like if you're having lots of sex, that means everything's good.
Right. Exactly. Which is just, it's just not the case. It's just not the case, which is why I don't like to throw out specific numbers because I feel like it's so personal. And the last thing that anyone needs in their relationship is having to think about meeting a certain number and comparing yourself in that way. Relationships, yeah,
totally. 100%.
Yep. Okay, do you got one?
Yes. It says, I'd love to hear about your journey out of Christianity and basically kind of where you're currently at with, your beliefs.
Okay.
Which is...
Well, the journey out of Christianity, that's a long conversation. There's definitely some past episodes of Chatty Broads, if you look up Bible Broads, where at least I'm talking about my deconstruction with my evangelical faith. And I do include, but kind of both of us in that conversation when I'm talking.
Yeah, because we have a similar,
not
the same, but similar journey.
I'll say this, we were on a similar time frame. We always kind of felt similarly, but we never, because we were raised in extremely evangelical, extremely conservative homes. There was a long time where we did not feel the safety, even in our, like the intimacy of our relationship, to communicate even with each other, that the other person was like, I don't think I want to be a part of what this specific thing is anymore. So that wasn't until, honestly, like right when I got pregnant with Ember, where you and I'm like, we're having a kid. We need to talk about where we're at. Cause I know we are both fully distanced from this emotionally and mentally, but we got all the family dynamics and everything. So we need to like have a conversation with where we're at. And then you and I both felt like we were on similar pages, but it took us a while to have that conversation because I don't think we felt safe because of how we were raised.
Well, and it's also really scary, man, when you're married and you like, there's so much pressure, like in Christianity, I'll just, at least our style of Christianity.
The evangelical,
there's pressure to be on the same page, right? Like marriage is like basically not two individuals being together. It's to become one. It is like you are joined at everything has to be aligned.
Yeah. The way we were raised, specifically how we were raised.
Yeah, I'm just speaking to
how we were,
our brand.
But independence in relationship was absolutely discouraged in marriage.
And you'd hear a lot of like, my husband or wife is, struggling with the concept. So now I'm getting counseling on what to do with them because they're falling away. You know what I mean? And it becomes this thing. We heard
that a lot.
Yeah. So there's a lot of pressure, and me and Jess have always been comfortable with each other. I don't think we ever felt like terrifying fear, but there is this sense of like, if one of us says that first, then all of a sudden, wait, are you not the person I signed on to? That person could say that to you, where they're like, wait, are you changing? Are you not the person that I put my trust in and now you're betraying me? It almost has that energy.
And I knew that this was going to end, me saying how I felt was going to end certain familial relationships and friendships.
Yeah.
But my biggest fear was that exactly what you're saying, our relationship, that we were going to be on different pages. Yeah. And that because of the way we were raised, that might lead to the demise of that. Right.
And so, I mean, like you said, we've talked about kind of to some extent, or maybe probably you actually has talked about, how you got out and you included me in that. And there's obviously a lot of similarities there. But I guess where that leads us now is, I mean, I can only speak for myself because I know now we don't really talk about this, but like, because it's funny how once you're out of like a religion, you don't really talk about the details anymore. Whereas like when you're in a part of religion, it's like the details are such a part of the conversation.
We did for a few years after, but then
we talked about it constantly.
Yeah, for the past year or two.
The last couple of years though, like for sure, for me, I don't think about it. I think that's what I'm extremely I don't have an opinion about like my existence in the universe, spirituality wise. Like I'm a little bit more like I'm open to things. My religion is whatever makes you a good person. That's kind of where I've landed, is like so if you need a specific religion for that, if you need no religion, if you need whatever you need to just treat people with love and respect, like that is like what I sign on for. So like that's why I'm cool with like whatever religion and whatever, if atheist religion, whatever you want, just make sure you're a good person. That's kind of my like stance now. If I dig down and wonder like what's out there, you know, I don't know. I'm just like, I have no evidence or feeling that there is like some greater thing that's like controlling me or like influencing my life in any way. So my thing starts to turn upward of be like, maybe me and my energy that I'm putting into the world is like all I can contribute, and that's about it. But it's interesting, like now that I've removed from like organized religion and all that stuff, it's amazing how much I don't think about it.
Yeah.
How much it doesn't, you know, sure, the effects of it are still there.
The trauma
and the effects are still getting worked through. But the actual thought of like my place in the universe as some like God or something like that, that's something I like think too hard about.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, maybe that's just because of where I was in life. It just kind of lifted, but
yeah, no, I mean, again, without getting into too much details, we were raised in hyper conservative evangelical Christianity. And so I think that a lot of what if I can speak for you, a lot of what you've experienced in the past few years is like a weight lifted of freedom. So I think maybe there's a part of like not even thinking about it because it's the first time that you haven't had to think about that 24/7.
Right. Yeah, you're probably right.
You know what I mean? So I wonder in the future if maybe you'll dig more into something. But for right now, I think it's good for you. It seems like it's been super healthy and light for you to be able to not have to think about it 24/7.
Right.
You know?
But to be totally transparent,
yeah,
there is a vacancy.
Yeah.
Because for me, as much as I was kind of passively going through the religion, it was always something I really struggled with. It was never something like, I didn't have a story where I was like locked in and was like solid my whole life. And then one day woke up and was like, I was always struggling with it. I was always like trying to make it happen. You know, I remember praying like, God, why can't I get this to stick?
Yeah.
Because it was just always uphill. I'm pushing the rock up the hill.
You'd hear people have their like big like life stories where they're like, wow, my life shifted in this way. And I remember you praying to be like, can you give me something like that?
Can you give me that crazy transformation? But the one thing it did provide is like all the answers. You know what I mean? Like it really did. Like like there's something about just like going, well, I don't really get it all and I'm struggling with it, but at least I know everything's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. When you have that, it kind of just makes you go, oh, everything's fine. But when you kind of pull that away, you're a little bit on your own. And then you kind of realize like, I don't know if it's going to be okay. Maybe it will. Maybe I got to try harder, or maybe I got to figure this out, or maybe I don't think I should change my perspective on what means okay. And, you know, so that's been a process for me is like, how do I ground myself, or do I even try to ground myself? Do I just allow myself to kind of float and like feel, you know, mentally with like with the religion and like my own existence? It's just being like, okay, floating a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's, you know,
you know, as of right now, I mean, I definitely feel like I'm more spiritual than you are. Yeah. Just like whatever that term might mean for someone, more like, I think a little more curious, a little more like contemplating and how do I feel about everything. But like genuinely, I have been in a space for numerous years where I'm like, I sure don't know the answer, and I'm pretty comfortable with that statement. And I do feel a lot of security saying I don't know.
Yeah. Which
I think for me has been really healing, because the idea of like, this is for sure what it is, caused me a lot of anxiety. And so being able to say with like my chest, I don't know. I love being able to say that to my child about things in life and see how she reacts with the purity of being a kid where when she asks me big questions about the universe, like even just random science questions, where I can look at her and go, I don't know, honey.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes, oh, okay. And she doesn't fall apart. You know? And I always thought if I didn't know, I would fall apart.
Yeah.
And that's been really powerful for me. But day to day, spiritually, to me, you know, if there is a God and whatever that God may be, what I would imagine is it would be an image of the people around us. So that's then been what my focus is just the idea of, okay, the God that I'm aware of is you, and trying to interact in that space on a regular basis of trying to interact with people like deity, like spiritual, like holy, like these people are so special and incredible, and trying to interact with the world like that.
Yeah.
And try to have an awe for humanity, and that be my spiritual practice, and like try to love on people. And, that's kind of where I'm at.
But what happens if there's a day of reckoning?
Well, it's happening right now with
I
you.
am the creator and destroyer. This is what's left from the ashes.
Oh my God.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think I saw another question that just said, like, did you guys have the same trajectory? And I was like, that's one thing I feel super lucky about, is that me and you like woke up in the same vicinity and we're like, wait a second. Like in the general time frame together, versus like if we wouldn't have done that together, there's a good chance we would not be together.
And let's be clear, that was genuinely luck. Like that
Honestly.
that's an example to me of relationships where people are like, I'm working hard to try to make this work, and you just see the people doing everything, but just you're going in different places in life. And I hate to see when a relationship ends and they go, it's a failure. It's like, no, it's not. When you're putting everything into that, and sometimes people just go in different directions. I look at a lot of people that we grew up with who got married at the same time as us, and they just ended up going in different trajectories spiritually and then non-spiritually, and it ended. And we weren't doing anything better than them. We just happened to start walking along the same path. So I do feel very grateful for that.
One thing I will say from that happening, that has one lesson what we've learned and that we've taken from that into now, is that one way to increase your luck in that way is to consistently not try to be the person in the relationship with all the answers. Because what that does is it allows you to have open, real conversations with your partner. Because I do feel like there was probably multiple times that we could have gone off path.
Sure.
But we were pretty diligent about not being a person with all the answers. And I think that is important, because it's like, so it goes into parenting, it goes into business, it goes into all these things. If you come into the relationship being like, I got all my shit together, it's gonna be really hard for you guys to grow and change together. So I think that like the reason why we survived it too was that, like, even though it was luck to start, once we were in it, it could have gone 40 different ways.
Yeah.
And we were committed to being like just open, like whatever happens, like let's just be with each other and not like, we'll figure it out. So anyway.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, a quick turn. Most interesting kink. I mean, you all know what I don't know. Do I have to spell it out? You know what I mean? You all know. Eyeballs. That's my. I don't even know if I would. Is that considered a kink? Is that like my thing?
I mean, kink is like such a one dimension. Like it feels like a word that has like so much attached to it. I would say yes, in only that it's like, you know, it's kind of unique and interesting, and people aren't expecting it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not like everyone's had ball eyes.
I mean, I will tell you this. I've had so many people message me after trying it, and I have only gotten positive reviews from the people who have attempted
That's
that.
fascinating.
Yes.
Because from my perspective, the eyes specifically, it doesn't feel like I don't see it.
Well, you can't see when they're...
She's going on tour. A comedy club near you. I don't really. I'm trying to think of a kink that I have. Do I have one that you want to share now that you've shared some things in mine?
I don't know if you have one.
Oh, I got one. Pleasing
Yeah, have
you.
you ever heard of
Whoops.
pleasing?
Whoops, you caught me. Expose me, babe.
I feel like I would say that between us that I probably tend to be the one who's a little kinkier.
Yes. Okay, here's what it is. I think I like doing the things.
Yes.
I don't have a lot of things I like done to me as much.
Yes.
Couple things, but in general, I enjoy.
You're a giver.
I'm gonna give you doing the kink versus getting the kink. I guess.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
You're definitely a giver.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the occasional tie up. I like the role play. I think I lead the charge with the ideas.
Yes.
And
I'm down.
Enjoy. Yeah.
I'm very down, but I'm not necessarily.
You're not cooking up the ideas in the kitchen.
I'm not cooking them up and saying, "Do this crazy stuff to me. Let's rock." It's more like you'll have an idea, and I'll be like, "I'm in."
Yes. You're very open.
I'm very open.
You're very open, but you're not the leading the charge of it. That's
right.
A little more like me being like,
exactly.
"Hey, let's
yeah. I like this. I like
this."
this. I'm like, "Oh, let's do it." 100%. Yeah.
I'm a little red underneath the makeup. I'm a little red.
Why do we get so embarrassed?
You know what? I don't know. It's funny
it's
because
funny
it's
to
like
be this far along in your relationship and then just still
be
like
shy. I get a little shy. You know what's funny? Because like when Becca and I would talk about it, because I'm talking to Becca, it's a little more like, oh, I'm going to tell you about what's going on. But with you being here staring at me,
I was there.
You were there, and so now I'm getting a little more like flushed, a little more embarrassed about it. If I'm being completely honest.
That's a good way to wrap it up. You know what I mean? Just really put us on our heels.
Oh, wait, one more.
Oh, yeah,
this is fun. Off of kink. Mm-hmm. The wildest place that we've ever had sex. Do you remember?
No. The wildest?
The wildest place we've ever had sex. When I say this, you're going to be like, oh my God, it was a while ago.
In a van?
Sure. Yeah, the van.
Okay.
Remember the elevator?
Whoa, wait, where was that?
When we were on vacation? Mexico?
Yeah. Oh, that was sick. That was sick. You just keep pressing, like close.
We hit like the emergency button.
It's hot.
Same trip.
That's my kink, elevator sex.
Same trip, also beach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't mind a little fear.
I guess so. I don't think so.
Right? A little fear is fun. A little fear of fear of getting caught is kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe that's one of our kinks.
I never think about it in the terms of that. I've never thought about fear of getting caught, but I think it's the excitement of that. Definitely.
I guess that would be a kink.
Would that be a kink?
Yeah, because I'm when I think about, I'm
the amount of times we've had sex in public. When you actually break down, it's like, holy shit. Yeah, maybe we do like that.
The train, the plane.
Holy shit, we've had sex on a train. That's super true.
Maybe that's our kink. There you go.
To anyone
so
close
sorry.
By us.
We're a little more aware these days.
When you're blinded by the lust, everyone disappears.
All right, I think that's a good.
A little information
a little
for you all there.
exposure. You all
Lee's
said
in the corner.
I'm so sorry, Lee.
Needs therapy now.
Thank you all for sending. There were so many questions. I took a bunch of screenshots of them, so we'll answer more in the future.
Yeah, in the future
sure.
we have so much more.
Should we do one call home before we wrap it up?
Let's do a call home. It wouldn't be an episode without a call home.
Can't not do a call home.
Remember, you can always call home.
Hi, Mom and Dad. I'm loving everyone's ick, so I figured I'd call in with mine.
Yes.
This happened 7 or 8 years ago. It was an ex-boyfriend that I moved 13 hours away from home to be with. There were many red flags, to be fair. He was one of 13 kids, and they were all flat earthers.
Oh.
For some reason, I was able to move past that.
All of them.
But every day, after he would leave for work, I would go in to the bathroom and he would have forgotten to flush. Number 2. Not only that, but it's not what was in the toilet, but it was what was not in the toilet. There was never, ever any toilet paper. So not only was he not flushing, but he was also not wiping. And I just could not see myself being with a man who is like that. And I just could not do that. Anyway, that's fine. I moved away immediately after that happened a few times. I don't know why it wasn't the first time that did it for me. I let it happen a few times, but after that I just couldn't move past it. And I shipped all my stuff home and moved back home. Now I am married with a beautiful little boy, and I can happily say I have never seen my husband's poop. Love you guys.
I can happily say he wipes.
Listen, a dirty ass flat earther. That's wild. That's wild. That's a wild one. It's wild. The
flat earther just adds such a nice sparkle to it.
The 13 flat earth children.
Kids who are all flat earthers don't wipe. Yeah. Wow. The fact that you stuck around after one, I mean, that would have been it for me.
That's so wild. I feel like, and especially like you were so used to having to see it, because I think then the first time then you see a partner is like, we were like, oh shit, they didn't like flush or something. You're like, oh God. But that it happened enough that you were like noticing there was no toilet paper.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like that means that was happening on a regular basis. And how and why, Evan? Like, you know, I love a tushy. Live for a tushy. Live for a bidet.
Dude, I use my tushy so much now that like whenever I have to go, it's not at home.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to shower.
Yeah.
Like it's brutal.
Bidet it up all day. Love that water. There's no tushy or bidet attached to your toilet and there's no toilet paper. I mean,
well, my question is, don't you think that if they were intimate, there would have been some like, it would have smelled horrible?
Well,
if you
maybe
never.
Maybe they weren't going in that direction.
Okay, maybe. Okay. And okay. He thought, I'll get around to that by the time we're married or something. You know what? Maybe if you deny the evidence for flat earth, you deny the part of your brain that says I need to wipe.
You mean
maybe those are connected? Maybe flat Earth. You mean
if you deny the evidence of a spherical Earth?
Maybe denying science and your butthole are like really close in your brain.
I think maybe you're right.
You know what I mean?
There's some connection there because I don't think I've ever heard this before. I don't think I've ever encountered someone who's like my partner doesn't have a bidet and doesn't wipe.
Yeah, because it's one thing to be like, I don't flush. I've definitely heard of that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But, or like I forget to, or whatever. But it's another to do. Yeah,
save the water.
To just see poo. That's like one of those things where you're like, oh, gross. And then you're like, wait a second, something's wrong about this picture. And then you're like, oh my gosh. That's when you run around to the house and check every waste bin just to like look for poo.
Like
you're
maybe,
like, please have there be like a disgusting waste bin somewhere.
Like I pray that maybe he doesn't want to like, you know, clog up the thing, so he just puts the tissue in a waste bin
it's
somewhere.
The only time in your life you're begging to see a skid marked piece of paper in a trash bin. That's the only time you're like, please. You're like, yes, you pick it up and there it is. If you don't find them, they're all clean, you're like, I need to leave immediately. You might actually be afraid for your life. It might be like, it's an interesting move.
Like, if maybe he is wiping, but like, where is he keeping all of this?
Oh my gosh. He's got like a bookcase of them or something to test her. He's like, how much does she really love me? This is like one of his like gauntlets.
Yeah. Like, has she, yeah. Will she stay with me if she sees that I don't wipe? Interesting. Well, wow. I am so happy for you. That is thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
And I'm sorry for that trauma because that is truly horrific. But congratulations on the marriage, not seeing the poop, and having a little one. Blessings.
We love you guys. Have an amazing. Thanks for coming on our second episode.
Yes. Oh my goodness, this is so fun.
A lot in the works, a lot planned. We're really excited. We wanted to do this one as kind of a beginning one to kind of set the tone and saying we're talking about some different things and this is us and but we have a lot in store. We're really excited
for some upcoming guests though. Yeah. I'm very excited.
Love you all.
We love you all. We'll see you on Wednesday for more Love is Blind recapping. Let's do it, baby.
Bye.
Bye.